I'm just jotting everybody's name down here. I think we do have a quorum, but a couple people just jumped on, so bear with me as I write their names down and get a count here. And then I'll go around and do introductions. For introductions, I'll just say your name and then you confirm and tell me anything else you want to say about me, say about yourself. But I will. That's a long link, Andy. Alrighty. So and if I miss anybody in the introductions that are TAC members, so I'm going to start with TAC members first. If I miss anybody in the introductions, please chime in. Again, David Fenley, Chair of the Transportation Accessibility Advisory Committee. Welcome, everybody. I know it's a fun day to have meetings. We're all waiting on important information from our voters, so I appreciate you taking the time to join us today. All right, so I will start. Claudia.
Claudia Fugly, MNCCD.
Jeff Daines.
Jeff Daines, Precinct E.
Diane Graham-Raff.
Diane Graham-Raff, Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging.
Richard
Rowan, AARP.
Patty Thorson.
Patty, whoops.
I'll take that as a yes, Patty.
Heidi, Minnesota CCD.
Daryl.
Daryl Paulson, Region F, and also Vice Chair of TAC.
And did I miss any TAC members?
John Clark.
Can you say that again?
John Clark.
Hello, John Clark. Welcome. I got you here. Looks like you're calling in. All right. Any other TAC members? If you're not speaking and you are able, could you please mute? All right, no more TAC members. So, and any TAC members that I did not call. 5, 6, 7, 8 people.
I'm fine.
All right, so I think we have quorum. We can. I'm going to skip introductions of Met Council staff today. Today we have a shorter meeting. We have a hard stop time of, I think it's 1:50. Is that correct, Allison?
Yes. Yes,
Perfect.
1:50.
We have a hard stop time of 1:50, so I'm gonna try to move through the couple agenda items that we have. But first, conducting business, we need to approve the agenda and then the minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda unless somebody has changes to it.
Jeff Daines, a motion to approve the agenda.
Claudia Fugly, second.
Perfect, Claudia and Jeff. I'm just gonna roll call here. I'm gonna run down everybody's name, all the TAC members I have here. Say yes if you approve. Claudia?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Heidi?
Yes.
Errol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Awesome, everybody. Okay, now on to the minutes. I'm hoping everybody took a look at it. And I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Ms. Claudia, I approve the minutes of last month.
This is Richard. I second it. The motion.
Claudia and Richard. All right, same process. I'll go through roll call. Claudia,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Patty, Heidi,
Yes.
Daryl, and then I'll do John and then come back to Daryl. Daryl, you can give me a head nod too if you want. I think you were muted.
I said yes.
Oh,
Awesome. And then John?
yes.
Yes. Thank you all for bearing with what is a fun roll call on a WebEx meeting.
You're doing a good job.
But we flew through that though. I'm impressed by it. We're getting used to this. Unfortunately, we're getting used to this. It'll be another year probably. So it's a good thing we
Oh, I
get used to
hope
this
not.
now. It's a good thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be until 2022 that we're doing this.
Oh, no.
Maybe not if we're lucky, but we don't want to put any of our members in harm's way. I do want to take a quick moment here. We did the TAC member introductions, but I do want to take a quick moment here to introduce Trevor Turner. He is the Minnesota Council on Disabilities' new public policy director, and will be that agency's appointee to this body, along with Eric too, who's the Council on Disability appointee. So I will give Trevor a couple minutes to introduce himself. Tell us about where he's been, what he's done, what his interests are, or not. You can just take a couple minutes, Trevor.
Okay, David, appreciate it. Hello everyone. My name is Trevor. I am the new public policy director for the Minnesota Council on Disability. I came here from the Starkey Hearing Foundation. If any of you guys are familiar with Starkey Hearing Technologies.
Yeah, I'm hearing impaired, so I grew up wearing one of them.
Oh, great. Yeah. So I used to work for the nonprofit foundation as the international program manager and managing 70 programs around the world. My background is, public service and public policy. I've spent considerable amount of time abroad internationally. I was a Peace Corps volunteer. I've done State Department fellowships, and I also have lived in many different countries around the world. However, I identify as having two disabilities. I have a severe hearing loss, wear hearing aids, and I also have a vision disorder caused by Usher syndrome. So I have progressive vision loss, and so I actually am not just a public transit user. I rely solely on public transit. I used to have my limited mobility Metro Transit card, so I rely heavily on the Metro Transit card to get around the Metro Transit system, to get around the Twin Cities area. So I'm very excited to be a part of this, be part of TAC and kind of be able to be a contributing member and kind of learn everything I can about the Metro Transit system and the Metro Council. So, yeah, a little bit about me. And I also have a lot of experience using public transit around the world. I've relied solely on public transit in Europe and East Asia, even East Africa. So I have a wide variety of experience with different public transit systems around the world. So I'm looking really forward to kind of being able to put in my 2 thoughts and contribute my experience with that.
Welcome, Trevor.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome. We are lucky to have you and the experience that you bring on and to TAC. So, all right, let's just dive right in. We have the agenda, the minutes taken care of. We're welcoming our new member, and I will turn it over to Sam O'Connell for the Green Line extension. otherwise known as Southwest Light Rail, to give us an update. Hello, Sam.
Thank you, Chair Finley, and thank you, committee members, for inviting us to a update on Southwest Light Rail Transit. I am Sam O'Connell. I am the Public Affairs Manager, so I oversee communications and outreach for the project. I have been with Metro Transit and Met Council since 2012, working on this project, and over the years, I've had an opportunity to also work with some of you, so happy to connect with you again today. What I'll share with you is a project update on Southwest LRT. I think we have like about a half an hour. Probably don't need all that time, so that will help you meet your schedule of your hard deadline here at 1:50. So I do have a presentation that I will be working from. Allison, do you need me to share that, or is that something you share?
Can I ask one thing? This is Heidi. We're getting a lot of feedback, and I got to pay attention to her. So if the people who don't need their mics on, can they turn it off?
Allison, I'll go ahead, or Doug, I will go ahead and share my screen here, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so please let me know when you can see that. And 1 second.
You're good.
All right. Since it's a little hard to, obviously, in this format, so I do have about 20 some slides, and I will just go through this presentation and happy to answer any questions after the presentation. So just to, okay. So Southwest Light Rail is part of our Metro system. So we are a through extension project. We are 14.5-mile extension of the existing Green Line that goes from St. Paul through the U of M into downtown Minneapolis. So those very same trains will continue through downtown Minneapolis and serve the communities of St. Louis Park, Hopkins, Minnetonka, and Eden Prairie. So it's an extension of 4 more cities, kind of connecting us all together, and have connections as well to the Blue Line and North Star and our other bus system as well. Oops, went the wrong way there. So this next slide, on slide 3, depicts a little bit more of what that alignment looks like from downtown Minneapolis in the upper right-hand corner, and working our way diagonally through the communities, again, of St. Louis Park, Hopkins, Minnetonka, and Eden Prairie. And then our western terminus is an existing station out in Eden Prairie that is also served by Southwest Transit. So we are expanding that station to accommodate light rail, and I'll show what that looks like here shortly. But again, 14.5 miles of new rail, light rail, that will include 16 new stations along the new alignment. And it will also provide that 1-seat ride from Eden Prairie to downtown St. Paul. Probably not a lot of people making that trip, but a lot of folks making the trip between the communities that are connecting. If you were getting on at the westernmost station, which is Southwest Station, and getting off, say, in Minneapolis, it would take just a little bit over 30 minutes, which really provides a competitive trip for driving the corridor as well. I would be remiss if I do not recognize partners such as TAC, as well as some of our local project partners that have spent a lot of time, energy, and actually money as well making this project happen. So we do want to thank the Department of Transportation, Hennepin County, both as the county and the Regional Railroad Authority, all 5 of our cities, and as well as we have Three Rivers Park District, Minneapolis Park Board, and as well as the watershed districts, as well as working with us through design and engineering. Just as a review, the project basically became a council project at the end of 2011, early 2012. So we worked through the environmental and engineering and design process. And basically, we are now into construction. So we have been into construction for about a year and a half. And the hope is that we will have the line up and running in 2023. A key milestone in the project just recently happened here, and we were in receipt of our full funding grant agreement. And what that means is that the Federal Transit Administration became our official partner in the project. So they are participating in the project financially at the tune of $928 million. So we have all of our funding. We've always had our local funding for a couple of years, and now we have our federal funding as part of the project, bringing us to just over $2 billion. And what this means is that not only is the Federal Transit Administration our financial partner now, they are reimbursing us for our project costs. Our money that we have received from the FTA actually comes in installments. It comes into about 10 installments. So it's capped at about $100 million a year, and it's a reimbursement program. But even though it takes a little time to get the federal money, we're super excited because then we can really maximize the benefits of this project.
Sam, I'm going to jump in real fast just to remind folks who call in. To mute your line, if you hit *6 on your phone, it mutes your line. I think we might be getting some background noise or some feedback from one or more people who are using their phone to call in.
That's what I was trying to say earlier to you guys, that I'm getting feedback and I'm trying really hard to pay attention.
I think we're all picking up on it. It's kind of sort of low and in the background, but yeah, just want to let folks know that. But thank you. It seemed to have stopped. I appreciate everybody for muting their lines. Take it away, Sam.
All right. Thank you, Chair. The slide on the image on slide 7 represents what the pie chart looks like for the so we have secured over $1 billion in local funds. And then really the federal grant comes with that as well. So it's a combination of county funds, state dollars, city participation as well to complete funding. I'll go through some slides here that show what we're doing for civil construction. This is a very strong civil construction corridor with lots of bridges, some tunnels. It's very intense because we had to create some of our right-of-way, especially as we get through Newtown and Eden Prairie. So I'm going to show a little bit of what that looks like today. So just as a quick overview, as we do light rail transit construction, it doesn't happen, say at one end and then work our way to another end. So we don't start in Minneapolis and then work our way into Eden Prairie or the other way around. The whole 14 and a half miles are under construction. And the phasing that we go through is first sort of remove the utilities, kind of get them out of the way, do site prep, kind of clear buildings and establish our work zones. And then really that civil construction is looking at building our track beds, our buildings, road work, trails. That's really where you see a lot of our work and where we spend most of our time. And as civil construction is being completed, that is turned over to our systems contractor that really begins to electrify the system, both for the catenary as well as safety and security and communications. And prior to opening, about 6 months before we open, it's going to look done. It's going to look really complete for the most part. And that's when we do our operator testing for about 6 months prior to opening.
Hey, Sam, this is Ken. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But David, can you tell whose audio that is causing the interruption?
Yes.
It's very hard to hear and listen.
I've reached out to Allison and asked them to mute it. Jeff Danes, would you press *6 on your phone, please?
I did press *6.
Can you give it another try? There we go. Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, David. I'm sorry, Sam, to interrupt.
No, that's okay, Ken. I understand. So just finishing up slide 9, we'll move over to slide 10 here. As I said, this is a pretty construction-rich project with our civil, lots of structures. Our contractor is London McCrossin. The contract value is about $800 million. Within that, they will build the 16 new light rail stations. They will construct 29 bridges, and those bridges are both for light rail, pedestrian, roadway, and freight railroad as well. We have 6 pedestrian tunnels to accommodate some of the regional trail infrastructure that we have. We have grade crossings with light rail crossing across community streets, city streets. We have a lot of retaining walls, and also rebuilding some of the freight track as well as the light rail track. So pretty extensive. The next series of pictures that I will be showing just walks us through the corridor. We'll travel through the corridor together. So we'll start on the western edge, which is our Southwest Station in Eden Prairie. So again, it is the most western terminus. And what we're doing there is modifying the existing structure and expanding it. So when customers arrive on either light rail transit or Southwest buses, they just do a cross-platform cross to make that connection. So it's that grade, and it's happening both for LRT and Southwest at the same grade to make that connection between those two modes. And I'll show what that looks like under construction right now. So pretty extensive. If you happen to be in Eden Prairie, you see a lot of cranes. A good percentage of those cranes are associated with Southwest LRT. This is looking to the east from the Southwest Station, and you begin to see what one of our major structures looks like. And this is a light rail transit bridge that crosses over Prairie Center Drive. And right in the picture as well is a new project that is called Elevate that has just recently opened up. And they were doing construction while we were doing construction. There are now people living there. It's about 220 units with about 30 units as affordable housing. So again, connecting transit users where people want to live and really making kind of that work-life balance as we build this. As I said, we do have a couple of tunnels. This is one tunnel that goes under Trunk Highway 62. That is the Optum campus in the background of this photo. So light rail will come from Eden Prairie into Minnetonka via tunnel under Trunk Highway 62. And so this is the northern portal or eastern portal. And that will most likely get finished up this year. And then on the other side of 62, they will build the western/southern portal, and that will start next year. Downtown Hopkins, which is a very important key station for the city of Hopkins. Here, I just wanted to show you share with you a rendering of what that looks like. So not only do we have the light rail station in the background, but also the trails. And down the city of Hopkins has also envisioned a plaza in this area to connect with their A Street Artery project and really making Hopkins a destination. And I just wanted to show what that actually looks like. So in the background of this photo is the Hopkins Honda dealership. So we're right next to it. So folks can drop their car off and take light rail to their work or whatever they're doing. So I just wanted to show what that status looks like of the station. The picture on slide 17 shows an LRT bridge that we are constructing in Hopkins, and it's over Excelsior Boulevard. So where the old Cargill headquarters is where this is happening. And what this allows us to do is get light rail up into the air and cross over Excelsior Boulevard and the freight rail tracks, and to get light rail in a better position as it travels east. So you can see quite the construction going on. Again, a lot of the cranes that you see in the area are probably related to Southwest. Part of our project is not only building light rail, but it's also rebuilding regional trails. And the picture on slide 18 is the Cedar Lake Regional Trail Bridge. This is actually has a few benefits, one also being safety. This crosses over Beltline Boulevard, so folks that are using the trail do not have to meet basically with vehicle traffic, that they will be transported over the roadway in a safer environment via the trail. Here is the Kenilworth Tunnel under construction. So this tunnel will be excavated out basically, and this allows us to get through a very tight segment of the corridor. There are buildings right up basically to the corridor, so this allows us to get light rail through the area. On top of light rail, when this is covered up, will be a regional trail as well, and freight rail will also exist in the corridor basically in its current configuration. So extensive construction occurring in Minneapolis. I do want to talk a little bit about our disadvantaged business enterprise participation and workforce for the project. So our civil contractor has a goal of 16% to be working with disadvantaged business enterprises, small businesses basically. And as of August, at the end of August, we were about 20%, and we anticipate that number to continue to grow. Our workforce participation, there are also goals for people of color and indigenous. It's a 32% goal overall for the project. For women, it's 20%. Right now, again, at the end of August, the number is just about 21% for people of color and indigenous, and for women, it's about 8%. We do anticipate those numbers to go up as we're just about 25-26% completed for our project. So we still have about 3/4 of the project to also to complete. So we anticipate that those numbers will go up as more work continues. Would like to talk a little bit about the light rail vehicles, given that the TAC has been a wonderful leader and redesigning the vehicles that we will be receiving for Southwest LRT. So Southwest LRT will be ordering 27 new light rail vehicles from Siemens. They are the Type 3s that we will be ordering and have been coming in. They are shipped from Sacramento, not San Francisco, Sacramento. So they come via freight rail, shipped from California to Minnesota. And as some of the folks that have been on TAC know, that there will be a change for the C car section, so the middle car section. And we did that together and with the input of TAC. Some folks may remember that we had a TAC workshop in 2017, and we met over at our Franklin operation and maintenance facility, and we designed what the interior of a light rail vehicle could look like, and really received some input. And that input found its way in the new Type 3 design. So that middle car where we have the seats kind of next to each other with the aisle, that's about 26 inches, will be opened up to the side seating, which really opens it up to, I believe it's over 40 inches now. So folks who are on either ends of the car can now travel throughout the whole car without having to get out onto the platform and get back in. So I just want to say thank you. I think that is a universal design that we will all benefit from. I just want to talk a little bit about the development that's been going on in the corridor. We talked a little bit about the Elevate project that's happening in Eden Prairie. The slide 27 represents where we're seeing a lot of the permitted and planned development. So for the green line that exists today, we're seeing over $9 billion worth of planned and permitted. Without us in operations on the Green Line extension, we're seeing over $1 billion of investment as well. The cities have just done an absolute remarkable job of being very thoughtful of how they want to bring growth into their communities, using transit as a backbone for that. City of Minnetonka, yes, just have 4 development proposals in front of them that will bring in about 13 1,200 to 1,400 new units just right around the Opus station. So an incredible opportunity. And again, this really allows us for us to grow in a more sustainable way in connecting folks with resources. Slide 28 just shows a little bit more of what that looks like in terms of permitted and planned development in both residential, commercial, public and institution, and industrial. We do know with COVID and with the pandemic going now, there's less demand in commercial, but residential has increased actually. So that's really pushing the demand for development around light rail stations. Just want to talk a little bit, share with the committee here about our outreach activities that were very in-person based during design and engineering and kind of the first year of construction. We continue to think of new ways to make sure our residents and businesses understand construction opportunity or construction activities as they go. So prior to the pandemic, we hosted open houses, we would do trail pop-ups, neighborhood meetings, tours for community members, and kind of get close to construction. That's been a little bit hard. Most of our, we still meet with property owners to give them a project update. We have gone more to a virtual format with meetings such as this, and meeting with community members once a month to provide updates in a virtual forum. So the pandemic has definitely changed our outreach methods. We continue to outreach to business. As we know, our construction activities definitely impacts what they are doing. So we ensure we are understanding how their business operates. When do their employees come in? When do they receive supplies? When are the big trucks coming in? So we can bring that information back to our construction team and just ensure that we are out of their way so they can continue. And at times where we need special signage to direct folks to a particular business, we've been able to do that as well. We continue to have a very strong team of 3 of our outreach coordinators who are out in the field doing great work in connecting with our communities, with our neighborhoods, with our businesses. And slide 32 shows their information both in phone numbers as well as emails on how to reach them if you do have any questions, if you live or work in the corridor. And also just wanted to share that we do have some other methods that you can stay in touch with us, and probably our most successful method is our Friday construction update that goes out. It goes out to just a little bit over 16,000 subscribers every Friday. We have about almost a 50% open rate, which we're very excited about. So we feel like folks are receiving the information, and we talk about all the construction activities in all 5 cities. We're also on Twitter. We use the Metropolitan Council's Facebook for our updates as well, and we're also on Instagram. I would also encourage everybody to stop by our project website where we do have videos, station renderings, and then also the latest information about our committees and what they are also doing for the project. So with that, that is the presentation, and I will stop sharing and happy to take any questions if that's appropriate, Chair.
This is David. Thank you very much, Sam. That was a good update. I do know, and I don't hesitate to say that your project team has done a fantastic job of engaging this committee. I mean, I would hold it up as an example of how the Met Council and Metro Transit should continue to engage us. You've all done such a great job. In that picture, there are quite a few members of TAC who are still on TAC and in this meeting right now. But y'all have done a great job of engaging us. As far as I know, this is still the largest infrastructure project in the state of Minnesota. And you've been asking us questions and looking for our feedback for almost the entire time the project's been going on. I think it's been about 4 years now, 4 or 5 years now. So with that, I do want to open it up to TAC members who have questions. Just announce yourself, say your name, and ask the question. I'll let things flow like that for now. If we start to have a little bit of remote meeting, sort of people talking over each other, I'll jump in. But until then, if you have a question, by all means, ask it. And just announce yourself first.
This
Yes.
is Ken.
Chris Bates. I was proud to represent TAC on Southwest Light Rail, and I got to say the staff was fantastic to work with. But I want to add one further note. In 2018, we were informed by the manufacturer that the people that are making the cars that we helped give the input in, we're going to use that design nationally on their future things. And that's really a testament to the work that TAC and the Southwest folks did in making this happen.
And this is Ken. I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Ken.
Okay. So Sam, when we developed, or when we were all involved in developing the Green Line, the Central Corridor, there was a program that assisted business owners with some grant or funding if they had some project or some need to be able to create an accessibility feature for their business, like take a step away or put a ramp in or some ADA related function. Do we have that in this particular segment of the line?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Ken, we do not have a program, and I can share a bit what are some of the factors on that. One, we are actually not in front of, the line does not operate in front of many businesses like they did on University Avenue, where you can open your door and you basically can move to a station pretty quickly.
Right.
A lot of the construction and a lot of the businesses and development, residential development is pretty new. The more west you go, as it's being built either today or just recent, so they have some higher standards on that. We do not have a program, but we have worked pretty intensely with our city planners to just make sure that all of the connections, sidewalks and trails, make that accommodate for as many people as possible, and making sure that that is accessible for everybody. So we haven't really actually found that to be an issue with some of our businesses at this time, Ken, but we're more than happy to work with them if we do see that happening.
Sure, and I appreciate that. Thank you. One follow-up question is, I know we've talked about this in the past, and I haven't heard an update for quite a while. Because of the type of venues that this line goes through, a lot of it is not going through city proper, but more what I would consider kind of rural area. There was some concern about some red rapid flashing crossings that would be considered as mid-block crossings to get to some stations, as not all the stations are going to be on corners. That red rapid flash is traditionally a major problem for people that are blind or deafblind needing to cross at those locations. Can you speak a little more about those? What's been done with some of those issues?
Thank you, Ken. I will probably have to go back to our team to get an update and be happy to bring that back to the TAC. And Ken, you're right, we've heard some of the concerns that you have. Southwest is designed a little bit differently. We don't really have mid-block crossings because where we are physically located is off on our right-of-way, so it's not the same experience on the Green Line that travels between Minneapolis and St. Paul, where you're trying to get to a station in the middle of a roadway. We actually really don't have hardly any. I'm just trying to think. I almost want to say I don't think we have those situations, but I can come back and be more than happy to share what we're doing with the rapid red flashing as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Sam. This is Trevor speaking. I had a question about. I actually used to live in Eden Prairie and work in Eden Prairie, so I was really hoping for a light rail line to get me through there all the time. So I don't live. I live in downtown Minneapolis now, so I won't benefit from that anymore. But still the light rail is there's still a place by my house that'll probably have a station, so I'm really excited about it. But I was curious about what is the relationship between the Southwest Light Rail and the Southwest Transit System, in the Southwest, and what will happen to those bus lines once the light rail line is operational.
Yeah, sure, Trevor. Thank you for that question. So we have worked hand in hand with Southwest Transit as we've developed the light rail, both in the service and the facilities. It's no accident that we have cross-platform crossing for folks so that they can get from light rail to the buses. And we have a good partnership with Southwest Transit on that. Pretty much the service that they have today, they will continue to offer that service because they really do. Most of their service is peak hour service, right? So the folks that are going into, say, our downtowns in the morning and then coming back in the afternoon. And it's actually LRT's complementary to that. So if you used their express bus service in the morning, but you needed to get back, say, midday, you can take light rail back out. So we, as well as Southwest Transit, see as complementary transit services. And if anything, it allows Southwest Transit to think a little bit about how they can better serve their communities, since we'll be able to provide this predictable service throughout the day.
Are there any more questions from TAC members?
Yeah, this is Heidi Meyer. I have a question, and my question is that I've noticed lately getting a lot of emails that the blue line and sometimes the green line, it's not just, riots or things going on in the town, of Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's more like maintenance. Do these vehicles need a lot of maintenance over time? Do they break down a lot? Because I feel like, boy, if I was taking the blue line or certain lines, I feel like I can't go anywhere very often because I'm getting a lot of emails saying they're like 15, 20 minutes behind because of maintenance, or something happened along the way, and it's not always an accident or people rioting because they're protesting about something. It's maintenance mostly. So how do we got this new technology. Why is it always breaking down a lot?
Sure, Chair Heidi. Thanks for that question. I understood. I get those very same alerts too, right? If folks receive those alerts via tweet, and understand that there are sometimes service adjustments that need to be made. We did see some of that with some of the civil unrest, right? That there were some communications of service being interrupted or delayed just a little bit as that. I know that Robin and Doug are on the meeting as well, and don't know if they're able to address your concern about some of the maintenance that goes on. I mean, we definitely have a strong maintenance program for our vehicles and for our trackway. Sometimes things do happen, and the Metro Transit does prepare for those situations where we might need to do a bus bridge if it's significant. But some of those things do happen. So I would just maybe ask Doug or Robin if they have any additional insight on some of those service interruptions.
Sure. This is Robin Kaufman, chair and committee members. I think there's, the alerts work very nicely because they do give people a heads up of when when we have both expected and unexpected disruptions. I know that we've had over the summer months, given that our construction period is short in Minnesota, we do use the summer months to try to do some repairs, just some routine maintenance, replacing of track or different equipment. So I know that there has been a few of those scheduled activities, and then there's also just so many other reasons why we might see disruptions if there is a vehicle that stalled or more of an emergency type situation. So I think some of it is just that there is so many, we communicate communicate so much out about some of those activities. And you may see repeat notices for the same activity as they provide updates. And we actually have several staff that are just dedicated to this and providing tweets and Facebook posts as these things come up so that we can communicate with folks. I hope that answers the question.
Well, I mostly see where it needs maintenance and you're like 15 to 20 minutes behind, and it's like, do the vehicles really break down that often? That's what I'm seeing in the emails. And then the other thing is with the new project you're doing, is it for people who have processing problems, how easy is it for me to do what you're putting together once it's all built, you know? And so like if one of the TAC members want to come with me and I have to meet them at a certain spot, I can actually process it, because we tend to build things sometimes where it's so complicated I can't even get to B, and I want to get to B. So how is it that we can teach the people who have severe processing problems with certain types of situations where we're trying to learn really hard because we want to be as independent as possible, but it's not always easy? Another question I wanted to ask, because you think about wheelchairs, you think about crutches, you think about scooters, but you think about the blind people, but how about someone like me who has to process it and actually use it at the same time I have a forearm crutch?
Hi, this is David. Heidi, can I ask you just a clarification question? So are you curious about the consistency from station to station? Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, because when we build this new railroad station, and all the different connections to do all this, I got to be able to take the information if I call the bus station, or David, you give me some information and then you send me out the door. I can actually do it, what you said, and understand it. It's not so complicated that I can't get where I need to go.
So, Chair Heidi, thank you for that question. It's a key question that we centered some of our design in, and again, also worked with the TAC to help us with that consistency factor at the station. What I also understand from your question is how can we also best assist and prepare folks for the new experience? So prior to opening and as we open, we will be doing some basically customer training, trying to get to know the stations, try to share how's the best way to take advantage of writing the new segment and the connections that are possible. So we would probably start that about, kind of a year to 6 months out on some of that education and some of that training. And as soon as we can get to stations with people in a very safe way, that is one way that we would do it. And that wouldn't stop as soon as the rail line opens. We would continue to do that as well and encourage more folks to engage us on that so we can provide those opportunities.
Thank you, because that's the question I was asking, because I don't drive, and so I have to take Metro Mobility and the trains and the buses, so they are my way of living. So I got to be able to process that information. So I like it as simple as possible, but some people like it hard. So we got to balance it out so both ends are happy, just so they can get where they need to go.
Understood.
This is David. Thank you, Heidi. That was that question, I think, might have brought us to if we don't see you before those customer trainings happen, Sam, definitely we'd like an update on that and an invitation too. Maybe we can do kind of like an on-site or if COVID's over then, do an on-site visit at one of your training stops. I think that would be nice for TAC members.
Thank you, and absolutely, it's an open invitation, and I would even ask of the chair and TAC members as we develop those educational tools to be working with you and receive your guidance on what will be the best way to share that information before we bring it out to the public at large. so that we are co-designing that information together.
I think I can speak for TAC and say yes, that would be fantastic. Again, your project office has done a great job of including our perspective in things. So that shouldn't stop as we move forward. When are you looking? I know I'm pretty sure it was in one of your slides, but I don't remember the date. When are you hoping to be open for service?
Our target date at this point is 2023. And so I wish I could share with you something a little bit more precise than that. But as we go into finalizing sort of construction for this year, we will reevaluate where we are with construction progress. And but the goal is to have the line open in 2023.
This is David. Do any other TAC members have comments or questions? We have, we could give this maybe just 2 more minutes if there's one more question from a TAC member. All right. Well, thank you, Sam, very much, and Robin for chiming in. We look forward to seeing you again, and look forward to having great light rail service to the Southwest part of the Metro. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us today, and looking forward to coming back. And just thank you. I think this is a great investment for all, and really looking forward to celebrating opening day with everybody.
Okay, see you later, Sam. We appreciate you stopping by. And we have the last agenda item, or for business agenda item. Andy Strezik's going to talk about terms and applying for TAC. So Andy, if you are ready, I will turn it over to you. I know we're coming up to the end of the year, so now is the time to reapply or don't reapply, and we'll find some other people to get in here, but I hope folks reapply because we got a pretty good crew now. So Andy, take it away.
Thanks. First of all, if I speak at about this volume, can people hear me?
It's a little tough.
Sort of.
Okay.
You sound a little fuzzy.
Okay. I'll try to be just a little bit louder here. If anybody needs me to repeat myself, of course, please just jump in. But as Dave pointed out, we're coming up on the end of the year. Anybody who is either the chair or representing precincts A, B, C, or D needs to reapply. If anybody does not want to serve, please let me know. Otherwise, if you look in the chat, I actually attached a couple of links. The first one came out of my email, and Microsoft Office converts it to a safe link. It should work, but it's very large and unwieldy, so I also just put in the website directly via a link. Either one of those links should bring you to the application. If anybody finds that difficult to navigate with a screen reader or has other issues, let me know, and I'll try to get you a paper copy of the app. I'm happy to do that. But with all the kind of craziness going on and disruption of normal protocol, I just wanted to specifically take a few minutes and call out to folks that it is time to go ahead and get those applications in. If you're in A through D or the chair. So I would also second Dave's comment. I think the TAC's been running really smoothly. I think, having a full slate of very engaged, knowledgeable members has meant good things for a variety of projects. So I would ask people to strongly consider seeking reappointment, both as a member of the disability community and as an employee of the Metropolitan Council. I think this is going well. So that is all I have for that, unless anybody has any questions.
This is Heidi. I have a question. Does the Minnesota CCD people have to reapply?
No, you actually serve at the pleasure of your appointing agency. So we have tweaked how we've done things in the past. I used to call the agencies and just get a verbal, yeah, we'd like Heidi to stay on as our representative, kind of a quote. But I figure people can let us know if they want to change their appointments. Agencies can let us know if they want to change their appointments to those agency affiliated spots.
This is Heidi again. Do they get an update saying that it's time and then they say yes to both of us? Because it took a long time for me to get a second person, but I've been on it because they know I'm dedicated and they want me to be on it, but I don't know how much they know and don't know at this point right now because of COVID-19.
No, if something is vacant, I'll reach out. But if a position is filled and if it's working well, I don't see any reason to get any feedback, or at least to solicit any feedback from an agency. If they have something to say, they can absolutely reach out to me. But if a position is filled and is going well, it can go on indefinitely.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very helpful.
You bet.
David, Chris Bates. Andy, what's the deadline? What's the deadline again for applications?
Get them in by the end of the year.
By the end of the year? Okay. Okay, thank you.
You bet.
The other thing I wanted to ask is Metro Mobility going to do a Zoom or some kind of virtual? Because we've never done, or like when we go to the library and you talk about the good and the bad of Metro Mobility. Are we going to do anything like that? Because don't we have to, even with COVID-19 somehow?
We don't have anything on the books right now, but I can bring that back in terms of trying to get something scheduled.
Oh, I didn't know, because I didn't know if that was part of the rules and regulations that we had to do that 2 or 3 times out of the year, so the public can tell you what they think about Metro Mobility. But with COVID-19, it's kind of hard because technology is not always their friend, or they don't know that. Because I get a lot of people saying, how do you get on the email so you can know about these things?
Sure.
So I don't know how you can answer my question.
Nothing is scheduled right now, but I'll keep you guys posted if we get something out there.
Okay.
I did want to take the extra time here and mention one more thing, and specifically to thank Ken on this too. There was a significant delay before any kind of movement on our premium on demand contracts. One of them is still going forward. The one with Lyft is still making its way through. Procurement obviously has been really backed up with all things COVID. However, we do have a signed contract now for the Modified Taxi Services Inc. contract, which will allow people to book with an app, totally circumventing Metro Mobility reservationists. And if they want to, they can go on an app similar to a Lyft or an Uber and book a ride through Taxi Service Inc.'s app once that's up and running. I don't have a timeline for when exactly that's going to be, but I was heartened to see that it was signed and is an eventuality at this point. So did just want to let folks know that that's moving forward, and again wanted to thank Ken for the great work that he did way back when on evaluating those RFPs.
Are we going to get anything in the mail or email box or anything about this and how this all works and when it all comes into place? This is Heidi.
We'll do some outreach to folks once that's all in place. And again, it's important to keep in mind that for people who are more comfortable talking to one of our reservationists, they can continue to do that as well.
So will that be in all that learning process of your options of what you want to do?
I'm sorry, Heidi, what's your question?
My question is, will that be in all the options in what, our choices of what we want to do? If I want to do it through Metro Mobility or if I want to do it through the app. Okay.
This is David. Thank you, Andy, for adding that. I think, depending on timing, that might be a good agenda item in the next couple months. Because I have a couple questions too, but we're probably running up too short on time here to have a full discussion about this. But it is good to plant the seed, Andy, in our thought process. Did anybody else have any more questions for Andy regarding either the appointment process or the premium on demand? Fantastic. How are the? I'll ask you a question, Andy, about this is David again, about the appointment process. Are you conducting interviews? Is it going to be like phone or Zoom or in a field 20 feet apart? How are you going to do those the interviews for the appointment process?
We'll conduct them digitally, and I don't have total control over this, but it is my preference this time around where to do two things. One, while we certainly want people who are interested in applying to apply, I'm happy with where the committee is at, and I don't think we need to do a hard blitz to try to get a ton of applicants. Ideally, if we don't have to do interviews, we won't, I don't think, this time around. In times past, we've wanted to bring people in for interviews, sometimes even if they were the only applicant, and I'm going to push hard against that notion this time around.
Great. This is David. That sounds like a good idea to make this a little easier process to go through, especially given the digital requirement here. All right, Andy, thank you. I will move down our agenda to the subcommittee reports. Ken Rogers, did you have any updates on Blue Line?
Yeah, I can't. Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. It's hard for me to tell. For whatever reason, the app is being really weird today. We had an initial meeting with the business advisory part of the citizen advisory group. And so we had a group meeting to kind of relaunch our efforts. We are continuing. Our meeting will be in the next, I think it's either next week or the week after. It's coming up. And it's just the Citizen Advisory Committee, of which I'm representing TAC at. We are moving forward. We have to develop a new alignment we have to basically start from scratch for the portion of the line that was going to piggyback off the BNSF rail. So we're back at square one, kind of starting with that realignment process all over again and trying to figure out the best approach and the new alignment for moving forward. But that process has started, and I will let you all know how we progress.
Thank you, Ken. David again. Christopher Bates, do you have anything to add about the Green Line to the presentation that we heard today?
No, David and committee members, they did a fabulous job, and they really are a good group of people to work with.
And thank you, Chris. Daryl, did you have any updates on the Gold Line or the Rex Line for us?
I just wanted to, excuse me, I just wanted to say, yes, the Gold Line they did a great presentation with us last month. And you can still do public comment. They're 60% of the way done. And
Daryl, can you speak louder?
Public comment, I believe, is still available all the way through November 16th. So if you have any comments about the Gold Line, particularly station design and things like that, actually, you'll be able to still get your comments in until November 16th or 15th, rather, I think. And as far as the rush line, there, I'll be able to update if you give me more time on the agenda next month. I can give you a better update for the rush line.
Perfect. Yeah, if that's what you'd like, we're happy to have you as an agenda item on the next month's committee meeting. So I'll move on to the chair's report. I just have one thing to report on, and that is the letter that we have been working on for quite a few months now. The letter to that basically formalizes this committee's position on increasing of the accessible seating on buses. The letter writing is moving along slowly. We have a small working group that consists of myself, Daryl, Sam, and Eric. We're chipping away at it, but it's moving along. Just wanted to let you all know that that is still going, even though it's going slower than expected. Are there any members of the public who would like to comment? And then we have about 9 minutes for member comment. I can open this up to members, and you all can bring whatever thoughts you might have to this meeting. Do any members have comments at this moment?
I have a comment. It goes with the letter you're working on, David. I've noticed each bus when I get on is a little bit different in how they do the handicap seats. Some are both down and one is up. It just depends on the bus, and also how we talk about COVID-19. So I don't know how your letter is going to deal with it, because each bus driver is different in how they want to handle it. One time I saw that both of them taped off. Another one, they were using the handicap belts to not let you sit in the front. You know, it really gets down to how do we get our voice heard, but we can actually use those seats correctly, because COVID-19 is changing how bus drivers are doing it. And I don't know if the transit knows that the bus drivers are doing this, you know, because I'm seeing all different ways to do it, you know, about the handicap accessible seats. So I don't know how you want to talk about that in person when you put this together.
Well, I think it's good that you brought that up now. It sounds like a separate issue. There should be, you know, consistency from one bus to the next in terms of how it operates at the accessible seating. But
we have a serious problem on that, and you're going to have to go back and talk to whoever runs that part of, you know, at the bus company, you know, to talk about that and how you can say what you just said and make that work.
So Daryl, I want to let Daryl talk, but then I also want Heidi maybe to elaborate a little bit on some of the issues you're seeing, because there are some people on this call right now who I'm not going to expect to respond to this, but at least I wanted them to hear a little bit more about what you're talking about. So go ahead, Daryl.
To Heidi's point, Heidi, they should be following the correct protocols as it relates to COVID-19 and the safety procedures as it relates to social distancing and the 10 to 15 ratio rule. Yeah, some drivers do kind of get a little weird from time to time, and I do believe that those drivers are those drivers drive the regular route, and they might be stolen drivers or truck drivers, and they need to be retrained. But certainly, the system should be consistent pretty much all the way through. I ride buses that I don't generally ride, and those buses seem to be operating just fine as well. So I think it might be a driver issue and not necessarily a system issue.
Thank you for that addition, Daryl. This is David again. Heidi, if you don't mind, we have about 4 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll open other members for member comment and then come back to you to elaborate if you'd like on some of the issues that you're noticing. So do any other members have comments before we go back to Heidi?
Mr. Chairman, for space. So I was looking up because I worked on the bylaws years ago, and I think what Heidi was talking about was these listening sessions, because we put mandates that we were going to mandate listening sessions part of our bylaws. And we normally would have one in October. We haven't, and we have to figure out if we're going to, if we're going to waive that right now or not.
Thank you, Chris. I didn't hear the end. If you were you asking a question, or you were just commenting on what's in our bylaws?
Well, I was kind of commenting on the bylaws, but in the bylaws we had stated, 3 listening sessions a year, and because of COVID, we've not been able to do it. So I'm wondering if can we waive that for this year as long as the COVID's going on, because there's no way we can do it, in person. We could do it on Zoom, but I don't know how effective that would be and how it would be managed. So I guess my suggestion for the December meeting is that we waive that part of the bylaw until the COVID situation is settled.
So from my understanding, our bylaws can't dictate what Metro Transit does. We can.
No, David, these were in our bylaws, the Metro Mobility listening sessions, that we've had in different spots throughout the Twin Cities the last 2 years. We put that in that the chair has to call 2 of them or something. My problem is that we waive that until the COVID situation is resolved.
All right, this is David. Chris, I'm gonna look at our bylaws just to get the exact wording on that, and we can revisit that. I'm guessing the governor's executive orders and emergency declaration might, for lack of a better word, protect us from not doing that.
I agree. No, I just think we should have it in a motion that's in accordance with the governor's emergency orders.
I'll take a look at the bylaws and see if anything needs to be done. But I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. Any other committee members have a comment? All right, I'd say we have about 90 seconds. Heidi, did you want to elaborate a little bit on the inconsistency that you're seeing? If not, I think we could take it offline and.
Well, I could say some now, and then we could take it offline, and you can email me or Skype me or whatever, to get a hold of me. I've been on buses where both seats have been down. I've been on buses where one seat has been down and I'm talking all for the disabled. And I've also been on buses where I was really surprised. Someone used tape to tape the seat up. And then I've also seen where it could be one seat down and the other one is up, and they're using the handicap buckles that they use for the wheelchairs to keep it up, because they do not want people to touch it and, to pull it down and sit there. So I've seen a bunch of different ways to do it, So go with your letter. How is that going to work if each bus is different? And because we're kind of spinning our wheels if they're not going to listen. If it's really the bus drivers, or if the bus company has to get on them to not do that behavior.
Thank you, Heidi, for that. So we did agree to have this letter be as specific as possible to not muddy the water with any other issues or concerns that we have. This sounds like either a maintenance thing or a social distancing thing, kind of using what they have on the bus at the moment to do social distancing. I would say, as with with any concerns that arise like this, I mean, calling it in to Metro Transit is the best way. If the driver's not following policy, or if something on the bus is not as it should be, calling it into Metro Transit and having it go through their consumer or customer complaint process, just so they can do any driver education that needs to happen, or check on maintenance. Because as we discuss here frequently, this committee, while it's good to bring these issues up, it's not as efficient to get concerns like this to Metro Transit. So when you see these things on the buses, definitely call them in. So when that bus does get back to headquarters, they can take a look at it as soon as possible.
And not only that, they can see it on film because they have a camera that shoots in the back, and so they have to see some of this going on. It's not like I'm making it up. Even Daryl is right about a lot of the stuff he sees on the bus.
Yeah, so I mean, Metro Transit relies on its customers and its riders to bring these types of things up. So we are over past 1:50, and we had a hard stop at 1:50. So I am going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all very much for joining us, and we will see you in December.